Hello everyone and welcome back to Senior Cat Wellness. Today, it's time to curl up, grab your favorite blanket and your favorite hot beverage because we're shining a light on cold weather, potentially harsh winter conditions, and how to keep your cat healthy and safe during some of the most brutal frosty weather months on the calendar. As the temperatures do start to drop and the days they do get shorter, it's very important to think about how the cold weather can affect our pets, specifically our cats. Felines are very resilient creatures, but the cold weather months, they certainly can bring unique challenges that can cause every feline owner to perk up a bit and be more keen and aware. Today, we're going to take a little bit of a dive into the essential cold weather cat care tips and how to keep your feline safe, very healthy, and certainly comfortable all winter season long. We'll start things off with why cold weather can be so tricky and potentially very harmful for felines. Even those cats, they do have those fur coats, some of course longer than others. They don't have the same ability to regulate their body temperature as some other animals. Very long exposure to cold temperatures, whether we're talking outside or potentially even indoors, can lead to hypothermia and frostbite, especially for kittens and young adult cats, and of course elderly cats, our senior feline friends, or unfortunately cats with health conditions of all ages can suffer. Indoor cats, they might face different challenges, of course, like dry skin or just an overall sense of lethargy, decreased activity levels due to the cold weather, and it can impact their overall well-being. And just right quick, take a little detour. If you follow the channel regularly, the most recent publication, if I'm not mistaken, I think the last one was about perhaps seasonal depression in felines. So, talking about decreased activity and impacting their well-being. If you haven't checked that video out, the most recent one prior to this one, I certainly encourage you to do so right after this video is concluded, of course. Understanding all of these risks that I just named, it's the first step towards proper and safe cold weather care tips, responsible care tips for your feline. One of the most very important things that you can do is, of course, provide a warm, cozy environment for your cat. Make sure your pet has access to all of their essentials, all of their needs, to a comfortable bed that's away from any, say, crosswinds in the house and cold floors and anything that could be harmful or annoying, if nothing else, for your pet. Heated cat beds and pads are very safe options. They can be, but of course, always choose the ones that are designed for pets, right? You don't want your cat to be relaxing on a hot bed that's not safe for them. That, of course, can create an entirely different issue, an entirely different video, unfortunately. Adding extra blankets can also make a positive difference, a very big difference. Cats, they love the warmth, right? And giving them that extra cozy spot during the winter, it can encourage them to not only stay warm, but stay cozy and comfortable, and of course, relaxed and perhaps even less stressed. Next, let's talk about your cat's diet and the proper hydration during these cold winter months. Cats can become less active during the winter, as I mentioned, but their nutritional needs, they don't disappear, right? That's 12 months out of the year. They need what they need to stay healthy and happy. Some cats actually might need a higher caloric intake during the winter, depending on their weight and their breed. If your cat is just sort of, let's just call it naturally thin, you might want to increase their caloric intake to keep them warm. Consult your vet, of course, before adjusting your cat's diet if you do decide to do so. Be careful always not to overfeed and cause unwanted weight gain. It might make them warm during the cold weather months, but of course, adding weight can lead to obesity, and that's, here again, another topic in another video and another issue. An issue that you do not want for your pet, of course. Remember that cats, they're likely to drink less water in the winter, especially if they are dry food dependent. So they're not getting their hydration from wet food, and they're cutting back on that fresh water. So you don't want to end up in a situation where your pet is dehydrated. So ensure that fresh water is always made available, and considering adding to their wet food, but also perhaps even some of their dry food. Almost maybe mix it into a gravy if you can manage that, if that's feasible to do so. Anything to increase their hydration, of course, and do so in a positive way. Keeping your cat active. Here again, coming back to that lack of activity, it's another key factor. That it's getting the sun's going down earlier. It's just generally colder. Everything's sort of a blah mood. Affects cats. It affects people. It affects everything. Right? You go from those nice spring and summer days to the heart of winter time. But exercise, keep those cats moving, keep them stimulated, maybe even go a little above and beyond when it comes to mental and physical stimulation if it is very cold outside during those harsh winter months. It's important to set aside regular play sessions and cater to what they like and do so maybe even double time, right? Creating the space they need to move around. And here again, if they have put on some pounds, maybe shed that weight, just keep them active. Don't keep them bored and keep them active. Let's say they won't get stressed and just generally out of it. Here again, harkening back to that video that I just did about the seasonal changes and the mood swings. Outdoor cats. Let's talk about the cat that maybe spends the bulk of the day outdoors when the weather is good. If your cat goes outdoors, they might have an itch to scratch because they might not understand why they can't really go outside. So, depending on the days, if they're a little less cold than others, let's say, if it's safe, let them go out for a while, but also keep a very close eye on them. And of course, check those paws, right, for signs of irritation and injury, especially if you live in a snowy climate. If it's not actively snowing but has snowed, so wipe those claws down with a damp cloth after they come inside to remove anything harmful on those paws due to the winter conditions. Cold weather, of course, whether they're outside or not, it can lead to cracked paw pads and just generally dry skin. Moisturizing your cat's paws with a vet-approved substance, a balm, of course. Vet-approved is the key word there, but avoid using lotions meant for humans, of course, and any ingredients that would be toxic to felines. Regular grooming during the winter can also help your pet to maintain a healthy coat and and healthy skin, for that matter. Brushing your cat can remove that loose fur and debris, but it also distributes those natural oils, keeping your cat's coat fine and looking good and feeling good, and it keeps that coat being positively useful in terms of insulation. Another important aspect of the cold weather and cold weather care is just keeping an eye on your cat's health just as a whole. Winter can make certain existing medical issues worse, such as arthritis, joint pain, and stiffness. If your cat is older, Senior Cat Wellness here, and has mobility issues, providing that extra warmth and access to the litter box, easier access to the litter box, easier access to the food bowl, very critical during the harsh winter months. And keep an eye for behavioral changes. Now, if they're hiding, if they're lethargic, if they're not so happy to eat, shying away from eating, that could signal that your cat's dealing with something more, perhaps, than the cold weather, unfortunately. So, as always, with most all topics of this nature and similar, if you notice anything on, out of your cat's baseline, contact your vet as soon as possible. It's also worth noting that cold weather can affect the home environment in ways that can impact your cat's safety. That's right, space heaters. I mentioned earlier about a heating pad that's not meant for cats. Well, space heaters and fireplaces, anything that you've set up for your own enjoyment and cozy comfort, that curious cat could, get involved in some things that they shouldn't get involved in. That's to put it lightly. So secure those cords. Set up blocks around the fireplace. Anything that you can to keep them away from any of these known dangers. Chewing of cords. Avoid using any type of antifreeze or chemicals. Anything that's insensible to your cat. Even when I said antifreeze, we're talking about even in the garage. So anything. Sometimes in the weather months, we use things to make the house warm, keep us warm. And most, if not all, of those things that we use, it's not your cat's friend. So keep all of that away. And finally, don't forget that cuddle session. Maybe more sessions during the days of the winter months. Shorter days, darker nights, colder nights. It leaves your cat maybe wanting your comfort. So spending quality time just hanging out with them, playing games, and of course those cuddle sessions. It can not only grow that bond in the long term of your cat ownership journey, but it can get them through some of these colder days and colder nights. Overall, cold weather care for your cat involves creating a very warm and safe environment, of course, and maintaining that routine. Make sure your cat is eating what they need to be eating, proper nutrition. Of course, hydration is always critical. And encourage that activity. Protect outdoor cats. They can go outside if it's a better day, but check those paws for cracking and irritation. Make sure when they're coming back inside that make sure it's not taking a toll on your cat, and that they're in the same healthy condition when they come back in as they were when they walked out your back door. Overall, it may take some extra effort and a little bit more responsibility, but you can certainly help your cat thrive and be happy and healthy even when it's snowing outside on those cold winter nights. To the wonderful audience of Senior Cat Wellness, what are your thoughts on this topic? You have your own cold weather cat tips to share. Something positive and responsible, quite obviously, but something that has worked for you in the past, perhaps as a loving and responsible owner, especially if you live in those cold weather climates, those cold weather parts of the world. A comment section, as always, it's all yours. And if you enjoyed this content, found it helpful, please warm up this video by giving it a like and sharing it out, and of course subscribing to us right here at Senior Cat Warmness. Senior Cat Warmness, Senior Cat Warmness, Senior Cat Wellness. Thank you so much. Until next time, enjoy that hot cup of tea, and we'll talk to you later.